I grew up in Hungary in the 70s and 80s. And I was dreaming of traveling to Africa, and I made it to Czechoslovakia and Yugoslavia. But then came the year 89. I graduated from high school that year. An advertisement appeared in the paper that they were looking for young people to work in summer camps and with families in the United States. The application process was long, and I was already busy with my college admission when the awaited letter arrived that I was selected, and my flight would be leaving from London Heathrow Airport to New York in 2 weeks' time. I was so busy with organizing visas and organizing the train ticket to London that I barely paid attention where the family lived. All I knew was the town is called Richmond. At home, I looked up in the atlas, Richmond, capital of the state of Virginia. But I had no idea at the time that the same name can appear in the states all over, and there is this 2-letter abbreviation at the end of the town which refers to one of the 50 states to make it clear what it actually is. My flight from Richmond, to Richmond from New York was much shorter than I expected, and at arrival, the vegetation, the temperature looked suspicious. But you cannot ask, can you? Excuse me, where am I? The first night, the board games were brought out, and I could choose. And I saw they had one about the states. I lost badly, of course, but at least I found out that I was in Richmond, VT, Vermont, and not in Richmond, VA, Virginia. So I was 1,000 kilometers further north up than I thought I was. "35 years later, and 100 countries further, I say that the most fascinating travel experiences found me in countries that are off the radar of most travelers, because we think it's dangerous, dirty, uninteresting, or just have poor infrastructure. Why is it important? We all have our comfort zones. Prejudice is a natural inclination, as we tend to be uncertain about situations, people, things which are unfamiliar with us. But in our world, where division can often feel louder than unity, prejudice is often translated into fear, hatred, and violence. So I did a project for 2 years. I explored 40 countries, which I had been before, under 32 themes of everyday or less everyday topics, to see how the same thing can be different in Colombia, Madagascar, or Indonesia, and to conclude that it's actually this difference which makes our world interesting. So I would like to show you now how art-related projects can inspire and change perspectives. Let's start with architecture. Actually, my father was an architect, and he studied in this building in the 60s. And I also worked in this building for 4 years, 15 years ago. But let's travel. In Baku, the 3 flame-shaped glass skyscrapers are symbolizing Azerbaijan, land of fire. For thousands of years, gas erupted from the ground, and the early believers of Zoroastrian thought is the sign of God. The sparklingly white, beautiful building of the Haydar Aliyev Center is the work of Iraqi-born British architect Zaha Hadid. And the building has not a single straight line. Everything folds and curves beautifully. Kazakhstan capital, Astana, which means capital, actually holds the world record of having the most name changes in modern history. The city is as surreal as its names. There's this 300-meter-long bridge built for pedestrians by local young architects to symbolize the local fish, the sturgeon. There is this huge 90-meter-high transparent glass building, the Khan Shatir, the royal tent, which houses a shopping mall and a tropical beach. The architect was the renowned Norman Foster. Let's go to some culinary art. I'm not taking you to France, Italy, or Spain. In Mendoza, we visited a winery where the owner is an avid art collector. Among the vineyard, there's an ultramodern building which houses masterpieces of classical European and South American paintings and sculptures. There's even a wine chapel. Foie gras, or if you prefer goose liver, and pastries are always presented as a piece of art in Madagascar, even in local restaurants. But our favorite was the zebu carpaccio with parmesan. Zebus are humpbacked animals with huge horns, and the flavor is richer than beef, almost reminiscent of game. Let's go to galleries now. Not New York and London and Paris and Vienna. Nico Pirosmani was a Georgian-born painter of peasant origin. He died at the age of 55 in 1918 of malnutrition. Later, his work has been recognized, and even Picasso found inspiration in his work. The Tinga Tinga paintings use vivid colors and cartoon-like animals, and savanna plants are depicted on these pictures. The name comes from the founder, the late Edward Saidi Tinga Tinga, who used leftover wood and bicycle paint to make paintings and selling for tourists to make a living. I would like to add that even obvious popular destinations can offer a fresh breeze if we look at them from a different angle. In Dubai, I found contemporary galleries in surprising areas. One of them was an industrial area called Al-Quoz, where among warehouses and workshops, containers house these galleries. And elegant buildings of the Dubai Financial Center offer free gallery viewings with pop-up concerts and performances. But it's not all. Let's travel further. And this is actually my favorite story. In the western part of Uzbekistan, in Nukus, in the desert, there's a museum. When we were taking the long train ride, even the conductor asked us in disbelief, "What are you going to do in Nukus?" This museum houses 40,000 of Russian Soviet masterpieces of avant-garde art. The founder was Igor Savitsky, who was born in a distinguished family of Tsarist Russia, but after the revolution he became an electrician, but he dreamed to become an artist. Instead, he collected as many forgotten, neglected, and forbidden art as he could, tucked them into suitcases and bags, and took the Trans-Siberian Railway and traveled for 3 days, 2,500 kilometers, to make it sure that these masterpieces are taken away from the Kremlin and survive in the desert. He took this journey more than 20 times, risking his life. 200 kilometers from Nukus is the ill-fated Lake Aral. Forced cotton production in Soviet times resulted that one of the largest lakes of the world has been dried up, basically. Tashkent-based lawyers started an initiative a few years ago, and established a music festival where musicians, government officials, entrepreneurs, and environmentalists come together among the shipwrecks of the Aral Sea. Negative. What do you think of negative, art in negative? Wherever we travel, I like to visit slums. When I say slums, you think of poverty, neglected building, crime. Why would somebody want to go there if he was lucky enough not to be born there? I would like to show you a little bit how art can change the lives of thousands of people. In Rio de Janeiro, the favelas are on steep hillsides, and these are actually very nice, colorful cube buildings. Fantastic graffiti is everywhere. Museu da Favela is not a building, it's a community space where they offer workshops and to connect the locals and the outsiders. You can even take capoeira and samba classes if you want. Pablo Escobar's hometown, Medellin, was the most dangerous city in the world in the 80s. And last year, Time Out magazine chose it as the third most livable place on earth. How did it happen? 20 years ago, the government started a somewhat controversial military operation, but nevertheless, changes were starting, and government funds were coming in. And here also, the slopes are very, very high, far away from the center, so they built escalators and cable cars, so people could actually commute to work and schools. People started to feel safe and free, artists took residence, and now it became one of the most touristic places in the whole country. All right, spirituality is where I finish my talk, not Rome. Lake Tana is the source of the Blue Nile. On its islands, there are 19 monasteries and 33 churches, housing incredible colorful murals in the buildings, which are simple adobe constructions with thatched roofs. They were built in the 14th to 16th centuries. Some of them even houses the remains and the crowns of former Ethiopian, not kings, I forgot the word. Help me? Emperors, thank you. 200 kilometers further is Lalibela, where the churches were carved from the surrounding rocks downwards in the 12th to 13th century. Let's finish our travel in South Africa. McGregor is a quiet town not so far away from Cape Town. It's at the crossroad of ley lines, which possess healing energies by some. Artists and alternative-minded people took residence here. And in one of the retreat centers, we found beautifully, discreetly placed symbols of many religions. After this travel, let's get home. I'm asking you to reconsider where art is. And I would like to celebrate diversity with you. And let's cheer that we live in this world where we are all different. At the end of this project, I also explored my hometown. Actually, it's a small village called Badacsonyos, just to see that beauty, natural wonders, and interesting culture is everywhere. Thank you.